Yo, yo. Okay, so looks like we got another replay review, this time from DanMD. I'm gonna turn up the music a little bit. Okay. Alright, let's get started. So as always, I'm gonna turn off my vision and just work it from your perspective. So far so good. Alright, just gonna speed it up just a little bit. Not as much activity in the first few minutes of the game. So it's PvT on Fighting Spirit, and I did see Terran was up there, but that's okay. Not gonna matter too much. The one thing about this map is that 6 factory pushes, or like early to mid game pushes, are very strong because the positions are very close, and you don't need to push very far in order to secure the push. So what I mean by that is like the distance from this bridge to this bridge, or even from this bridge to this bridge, is pretty short. So that favors Terran in that they don't have to push a long distance in order to get into your base and secure and contain. So that's why early to mid game pushes are really strong on this map. Taking a third is actually kind of hard because if they have units here, they'll just kind of deny and delay. So I think from the Terran perspective, I think doing and committing to a mid game push is good. Because it's hard to stop from the Protoss perspective. But we'll see what happens. Okay, it looks like we got Probe Scout off here on first try. Okay. So we did see this. Actually, let me rewind. I apologize. I was looking at the bill a little too closely. One thing to pay attention to, what I would really like to see. Okay. Oh, that's actually kind of big. So I do want to see the gas. So we see the SCV, that's fine. But I really want to see the gas. If there's no gas, then he could be going for a Rax command center, which is a fast expansion. But even if he, let's say, has a gas, I want to see how many SCVs he puts on it. The typical is that he's going to start off with 3. Oh, okay. This is a really fast command center, and I'm going to guess that this is either a Rax CC or a Rax gas CC. Let's take a look. Okay, so he's starting the gas now, so I was right. This is the gas, or Rax CC, and this is going to be a fast expansion from Terran. But going back to my previous point, let's say they had a gas first. Why is this so loud? Hold on. Wow. Okay, I'm just actually going to turn the music off. I apologize. For some reason, it's really loud in my headphones, and I can't really explain why. But that's fine. The thing to note is that if they have a gas earlier, like let's say if your probe was first up here and saw the gas, you want to stick around for a little bit and see how much gas he's mining. A standard factory like command center, after he gets 100 gas, which takes about 20 seconds, he would start his factory and then take 2 SCVs back and put on the minerals. That would indicate that he's going for a factory expand, which is the most standard build in TVP. But if he keeps 3 SCVs on even after he starts the factory, that's an indicator he might be going for 2 factory or 2 factory starport. Probably most likely 2 factory on this map. So if you're able to see that information, that'd be really great. Definitely look for that. But that doesn't apply to this game because he's going for that Rax CC expand. Here, I would think my mindset is thinking two things. One is, okay, this I can go in one to two paths. One is I can get my own command center and start a get an early robo or get another gateway with range. Most likely you would get range before the Nexus, otherwise it gets out too late. But you can either go Dragoon, range, Nexus, and start harassing this bunker here. Oh, he will make a bunker eventually. And from there, you have your Dragoon hitting the bunker, forcing him to repair, wasting mining time, wasting minerals to repair the bunker, and that'll help you catch a little bit in economic supply. As it stands, with his early command center, you're really far behind. Protoss wants to start their Nexus around the same time as their command center, before even earlier than before if possible. But the fact that his command center started now, and you haven't started yours, his is going to be pretty far ahead of yours, so he's going to be really, he's going to have a sizable lead. So what you want to do is do the thing like I said before, get your Nexus a little bit later, try to play catch up a little bit with some Goon Harass, maybe follow with a Reaver to force some turrets and get some extra harass there to try to even the game state. Or you can go all in. Or you can go like a proxy gateway, proxy robo to try and bust him before this comes online. So I think those are the two valid approaches. Okay, so let's see what happens. So probe goes all the way back. Okay. So it looks like we're going to go for a gateway expand, rangeless. I have mixed feelings about this. I think this squarely puts you a little bit behind, but it's fine, I guess. The problem here is that because we won't have range for a long time, we have no way of harassing him or dealing any damage to him. So my approach, the way I said about before, is that that approach kind of says, okay, I'm going to be a bit behind, but I'm going to try to force my way back to get ahead or get even, versus here is I'm going to be behind and I'm going to stay behind for a long time. It might be okay, but this is not an unplayable spot by any means. It's just a difference in philosophy, and I guess it's okay. I do like the robo here. It's a little bit too in your face to the SCV. I get that you want this as soon as possible. I think I may have tried to get the Dragoon to force SCV out first before making the robo. But I do get you want this out as soon as possible. It is just a little bit too obvious that it's going to be a Reaver tech because there's no range here. Part of it is that you want to keep Terran guessing, so he has to try to prepare for all these different things. But yeah, this is okay. But I think I would have tried to force this out. Sorry, to finish my other point from before. It's okay that you're doing the rangeless expand. I do think that trying to figure out a plan to get ahead or even later on is good, and this robo is a good segue to that, so I like it. Just a little bit too on the nose, unfortunately, but that's okay. Okay, so making probes starting range now, that's good. Okay. Strangely enough, his SCV count should be about 5 ahead of yours, but it's about even, so that's good for you. Okay, we got, observatory. Okay, if we are getting this robo early, I think I would want to do shuttle Reaver directly. Like my mindset is, I'm behind. Okay, ignore this. I know this tells you you're ahead, but theoretically, with the build that he did and the build that you did, you should be behind. And my mindset would be, okay, in that setting, I want to catch up a bit, so I would want my shuttle Reaver out as soon as possible. his tech is his factory tech is delayed a little bit because he's going that Rax CC here. So it'll be a little while before he's able to push you. So it's okay that you invest more money into getting your Shuttle and Reaver first before getting an extra gateway or 2 gateways and Dragoons. So you got some time for safety, and I think I would take advantage of that by getting the Shuttle and Reaver out rather than the Ob. But yeah, that's what I would have done. This is okay, I guess. This is a little scary. Around... actually, I'm not sure of the timing. Around 6 minutes or so, 6:30 or so, he might run out with, like, speed vultures. And if that's the case, he could either run... Oh, there they are. They could run around this way, or even just run past this way, and you'd have to react pretty quickly to either get a goon here, get a goon made here and block it here, or build a pylon here. But it makes for a really chaotic situation. What I maybe would have done is keep most of my goons back around this time, and leave one goon to kind of scout, and then move that goon as soon as possible, as soon as they push. But it looks like they have vultures out here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so he does have speed. Yeah, he does have mines, and you can see the... Okay, I like that this is going back, but you can see that the problem here is that he's running these mines mines behind you, so these are trapped. Like, obviously you can run this way and sidestep it, but that's only because I can see. If he lays mines here, you're kind of truly trapped, and what you have to do is like push out with like 3 tanks. You'd have to run back, and you'd run to the mines. So leaving these here at this point stage in the game, I think is kind of risky. I would have left them here and only push out when you have Observer to help clear the mines. This is good. I like this, that you pushed out with Goon and Probe, and this is doing a great job in protecting. Okay, right now I just don't... Okay, here's a mistake. So this Obs needs to see what he's doing as soon as possible. I get clearing the mines is attractive, but whether he's going for like an all-in push, whether he's expanding, that's going to really dictate how your build will go. So I would need this Observer to go to your base, to his base as quickly as possible. Protoss is a very reactive race, so the more information you can get sooner, the better it is going to be for you. Okay, so great, you clear the mines. Awesome. You still need to get information. He could be cutting SCVs and starting 6 factories by now, while you have 3 gateways. He could be making a 3rd CC by now, or making starport, and you got to prepare for drop defense. You just have no idea, and there's no way to play optimally if you can't get information from him. Okay, still no movement. But we're getting up to 3 gateways. Okay, right now I'd like to see what kind of game plan we're going for. Either we might are we going for like a Arbiter, or are we going Gateway Man? Okay, great. So we have this Observer going in. Great. Getting some more information. Okay, we see he's on 2 factories. At this timing, typically Terran will start their 3rd, 4th, and 5th factories around the 8 minutes if they're going for a 5 factory push or into expand. So I would sit my Ob here and just kind of wait and see what he's getting. Another clue is looking at what other buildings he's getting. If he's getting like double armory, that might mean he's going for a slower, more methodical strategy, or slower timing, but more robust later on. Or if he's going starport, then he might be going harass. I do need to see other buildings, but from what I see here right now, that's what I would be thinking. Oh, yeah, I would really love to see more information. This does look pretty standard, so nothing too crazy. Okay, there's a second factory. Okay. So from here, I think to myself, okay, well, it does look like he's going for a push, a semi-push, or he's going to make 5 factories and then kind of expand. Either way, he has either option for both, but I have to respect his push. So what I want to do from this point is get up to 8 gateways to help fend off the push if he chooses to push. So I'm looking over here. Okay. I do like we're making probes. Right here, though, at this point, I would cut probes. So, like, wait till these finish and don't make any more while making 4 more gateways. Your gateway timing is going to be really important to fending off his push. If your gateways are too late, then his production is just going to outpace yours, and you're just going to be kind of screwed, even though you have the probe count lead, which is really nice. But if he hits the timing and you don't have your gateways up at the right time, then you're kind of screwed. And like I said before, a 5 or 6 fact push is going to be really strong with this map because the push distance is so short. He doesn't have you don't have as much room to work with in terms of flanking, and he doesn't have a lot of distance that he needs to cover. So it might be really strong in this map. Seeing these tanks move out in this regard, though, looks like he's going to go for a fast third. So scratching the plan of the hard push, he's probably just going to expand here. And, just from a logistical standpoint, so like I said, if we see 4 or 5 factories, we want 8 gateways. I'd really like it from a logistical standpoint to have my gateways on the same screen. So here, 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 maybe one here. This is just so it makes it easy. It's really hard to macro like this and then go all the way up here. Like, obviously I can do it like in times of like no stress, but when, you know, things get hectic, you're trying to multitask, you want to set up things to be easy for yourself. So putting these up here is kind of a pain that you're going to feel eventually. So having them close together is going to serve you on the later, in the long run. The other thing that I'm seeing here is, okay, we did see 2 tanks move out. Assuming he didn't build enough buildings to block this entrance, the amount of goons you have is quite enough. So I would love to see maybe some harassment, see if we can get up here. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, wow, he already has his CC up. Okay. Oh, he has 3 tanks up. That's crazy. Okay. This is yeah, 2 would have been fine, but 3 tanks, especially with vulture cover, that's not great. Oh, that was a sick mind drag though. Okay. But this is gonna be held off. Okay. So, what do I think of that? I think it was good to definitely poke up to see what value you can get. That was good. I think as soon as you saw 3 tanks, along with vulture support coming, I think you should have backed off. It's really hard to get to trade efficiently with trying to go up this ramp, and especially with like vulture support, SCVs that can block. Making him nervous and trying to get him flustered is good, but committing too hard can be dangerous. You lost about 12 goons for, what, 3 tanks and a ton of vultures, but that was because of the mine drag. Who knows if that would have been as likely if that mine drag didn't hit. So your value was okay, but kind of because of a mistake that he made and not so much a correct decision. He did get this up earlier, but that comes from the lack of scouting that we had like in this region. Like we saw the factories here, but we didn't see anything up here. Pushing your ops a little bit more this way can give you a better idea of what you're seeing. Better idea of what he has. He had a really odd build though, I'll be honest with you. Part of it is that his SCV count is pretty low, so he kind of built a lot of different things at the same time that he's generally not able to afford that early if you're not cutting SCVs. Like, okay, so really quick, on the surface, it sounds kind of crazy in that he has a third command center, he has a bunch of factories at that timing, but this is not going to be optimized or good for him if he sticks with this. It's not optimized or good eventually. Like, it on the surface, it seems really good, but if you don't have the SCVs to support those three bases, then it's very shoddy. But from your perspective, you should be scouting a little bit more, getting a clear idea of what he's doing. So from this point, we see that we have three bases. He's on three bases. So normally, or not normally, but one alternative that you could have is, well, let's put it this way. Generally speaking, you would have had, if you're going for Arbiter, you would have had your Arbiter Stargate and Temple Archive started probably a minute to 2 minutes ago. If that were the case, there is maybe a recall timing they can go for at the third. Because going for a traditional stasis bust isn't viable on this map, because you can't attack into this. So, sorry, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, we have a couple of options. So, our game plan should be thinking, okay, we thought we were even when we saw those 5 factories. As soon as we saw the CC, we should be thinking, okay, we're either even to behind. We are way ahead because his SCV count is dreadful. But let's just say, for example, that this was all on time. He got his CC up. His SCV count is better. We should be thinking that we're probably behind. In which case, we would think we should either try to bust this or recall this. But if our tech's too late, that's not an option. Another option that we could have had is if we went Reaver tech from earlier. If that's something we went for, we could have gone speed shuttles, and speed shuttles do very well against this kind of base. So that would have been an option. But because we didn't go for that either, that's not an option either. So because we can't viably attack him, we would have to try to catch up otherwise. That means taking 2 expansions, or expansion here, or expansion here. Just trying to get really far ahead economically and forcing the issue on him. But I want to make a point here. Let's say if you are going Arbiter, because that's a common strategy for PvT. So let me make a point really quick. So right after your Citadel, you should be starting your Archives and Stargate. Let's see when you start your Citadel. Okay, so 7:45. This is going to finish in about 40 seconds. Okay. Just a word to the wise really quick. Your second gas, if you're going for Arbiter, should start before you start your Citadel. Generally, the build order will be going second gas first and then Citadel, but at the very least, you need to start them at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to be too gas starved to afford anything, tech-wise. But let's say you got your gas on time. Citadel Dune is done now. You have started your Arbiter, or sorry, your Stargate and Archives at 8:30. That's when you could have started them. And those finish in about minute. Take about a minute. You have had them done around 9:30. You've started your Arbiter now, and yeah, by the time you, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend fully engaging this, but let's say you poke a little bit, you've had your Arbiter out by a minute later, and you could threaten to recall or stasis bust if that were an option. But yeah, getting your tech out is going to be really important. But we know how this went. This wasn't a super cost-effective trade. Okay, but let's see what happens. So yeah. You remake Dragoons, that's really good. When you lose your Dragoons, you want to remake them. You want to get up to about 18 or so. 16 to 18 is a really good number. And the rest of your units should be Zealots. So I do like we're making Dragoons, or we have our Dragoon counts back up. Okay. So this is where I would think to myself, yeah, I definitely want another base. Like, I don't want to be on even bases with Terran for too long. I do want to get my tech up. But yeah, getting your bases up is important. Fourth base should be, yeah, up like 4 minutes ago, probably 3 minutes ago. So yeah, it's about 4 minutes late now. Oh, 5 minutes late now. So, or sorry, 4 minutes late. So yeah, that's a lot of economy that you could have had that you missed out on. But right now, I'm not sure what our game plan is. So, like I said, if our tech was like, yeah, so the main idea is, you know, Protoss doesn't want to be on even base with Terran for too long. We either want to shut down that third base, either through a bust, or we want to grow and expand our lead that it outstretches Terran's economy. Right now, we're doing neither. So I do see that this Ops is going for an expansion, but it's quite a bit late. And yeah, getting to the third base is really hard from an attacking perspective. It's a lot more viable on other maps. This map is unique in that you really can't attack into the third unless you recall. And that's not something we quite have at the moment. Okay. Okay, so if we're not going recall, this tells me we're going for, okay, shuttle storm. So that's certainly a viable strategy, and it's what pros do. But I'll say it's very hard. It's a very difficult APM intensive, very precision. Yeah, it requires a lot of precision to get it right. So you've definitely chosen a more difficult strategy, but it's viable. So this is telling me that, okay, I want to, okay, well, I changed my mind. It looks like you're building our Stargate. So if you're truly going Arbiter, then the Temple Archives and Arbiter Stargate should start at the same time. If you're going Shuttle and going like that mass shuttle style with storm drops, at this point in the game, I would have had, at least maybe even 7 to 8 minutes ago, I would have had a second Robo. Because at this point in the game, you want to have faster production of shuttles so you can replenish them if they get killed. I would definitely have picked or gotten a second Robo by now, probably about 4 or 5 minutes ago. Yeah, but right now I'm seeing a lot of indecisiveness. Like here you get your expand, great, but this could have been taken a lot earlier. I see that you're getting tech, but as we mentioned, that could have been gotten a lot earlier as well. Like individually, I like the things that you're doing, that you're expanding, that you're getting tech, but the timing of it all is that you're putting yourself behind because Terran's power is just gonna it's just gonna overtake yours because you want to use your tech to kind of stay ahead, but because it's so late, you're kind of letting Terran catch up. And because, okay, oh, so that's pretty obvious. You don't want to do that. Oh, a fight. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. So I liked it at first, and then I really didn't like it. I'll show you. So let me rewind to the a little bit before the fight. So what? Let's recap really quick. So at this point in the game, it's hard for Terran to take a third on this map, like I mentioned before, but we had him have it. Oh, sorry. He was able to get it because of the build order choices. But now his plan will be to try to push out at 200 max or something close to it. His goal is to try to get a lot of upgrades to be really cost efficient. And he's going to push out with almost a maxed, like, indestructible ball army. That's his goal. Because taking a fourth is super hard for him. Near impossible. He has to take this or the middle, and he has to establish really strong map control. He can't take those for free. Your perspective is that your perspective is that you know, in a traditional PvT on a different map, you would want to kill the third base, but that, like I said, that's not possible on this map. So your goal should either be, okay, I want to recall this base and try to get value that way. That works up to a certain point. I'll just be honest with you. It will work at, it has problems, but it can work. So at least it's a viable strategy. The other idea is, okay, I want to take more bases, like this one and this one. The idea, basically, in other words, take all the bases on the map. The idea is that even though, sorry, let me rephrase that. Because Terran is going for that late game maxed army at 200, it's something he has to build toward. And that's time for you to take a huge, like an insurmountable economic lead. Because the window for attacking him has long passed. There was a timing window, probably 11, 12 minutes, where if you went straight for like a really optimized army count, you could have attacked him at 12, 13 minutes. You would have had, let's say, 150 supply, and they would have had like 100 supply. Now, let's just play that out. So let's say it's 11. Let's see what happens here. So maybe not quite that amount. But actually, let's see. So they have 5 tanks here. 5 tanks. Very few mines. Your army's a little bit spread out, so it's hard to see. But you're supply blocked here. Let's just say, for example, you weren't. You probably have another 20 supply, perhaps. Who knows? Yeah, these aren't building. You've had another, I don't know, at least 15 supply. You fight 140 versus 100. That can crush this. You could just win right here. So there is a timing around this time of the game where you can fight and kill him. If he had everything here, though, and he had more mines, maybe not. But that gets tricky if, let's say, you have an Arbiter and a shuttle to drop. You know, there's a lot of different factors that weigh into that formula of what wins the fight. But there's a world, or there's a scenario in this game where you could have killed him at this point in the game. But once this becomes like... Once Terran becomes like at this supply, like 140, 150, they are unkillable. They're unbustable. There's 2 reasons. One is that tanks, the number of tanks, they exponentially get stronger, but also the upgrades, as time goes on and their upgrades become higher, then it becomes increasingly difficult to attack into them. It is only at the 11-minute mark where their upgrades are like pretty are really low, and their army count isn't quite as high, this is a kind of a juicy time to attack Terran. But once it becomes like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes later, you can see it's quite a world of difference. So if you miss your timing to attack him, you want to take advantage of the time he's giving you by kind of sitting until 200 to take every single base. This does two things. One, it pressures him to attack you sooner, so that he might want to attack you before his upgrades are finished or before he's ready to attack you. The other thing is that it gives you more time to set up your other bases. So let's say, for example, you set up this base, you set up this base. He has to take this path all the way here to fight and attack this. Meanwhile, you set up your bases here. You get like 8 more gateways. You have another like gateway farm to produce production units of. And if by taking this base, if you force him to fight this base and kill it, all his units, imagine all these units here, would be all the way here, meaning that it opens up a counterattack to killing his natural. Terran can't be at every single place at once, so by taking a lot of bases, you're putting pressure on him in that way. But yeah, right now we're kind of just sitting. This 4th base is too late. We're letting him getting really strong upgrades. We want to buy time to get our bases up and get our tech up. At a certain point in time, especially right now, Protoss can't fight into Terran. This is just too strong of an army, especially if their upgrades are higher. So in order to even fight this in the first place, we need to get our Arbiter tech up. And we have to wait until we have Arbiters to fight them. But if they force the fight, then we have to buy time until our Arbiters are out. If we are impatient, we lose. As you can see here, we're kind of... It's in our prerogative. We want to wait. Because we want to wait until whatever tech you're getting is up. Like, looks like you're going for Arbiter tech here, but right now, yeah, we want to wait for Arbiter tech. We want to wait until we have like an unstoppable Protoss army. But now we're kind of attacking into his strength. And I know this looks good at first, because he has a lot of exposed tanks. He doesn't have enough vultures out here. This should be out here for him. But tanks just trade way too well against our army past the 12-minute mark. So, yeah, you can see you don't have a lot of goons. You have some units here, but your goon count is really low now. His tank count's really healthy. He has a timing to push if he wants to. But yeah, and he has 2-2 now, so he's really strong. He has potential to kill you, especially because you don't have your Arbiter tech up. If you have Storm tech, great, but yeah, that takes quite a bit of control and kind of a little bit of luck, I guess. And you're not even mining from your 4th base, so your econ isn't. Yeah, it's behind his. Like I said, 3 base Terran will always beat 3 base Protoss. So I'm realizing now I might have over-explained or giving you too many options. So I apologize. This taking the bases all over the place is a pretty advanced strategy. If that's a little bit kind of a little too advanced, the main thing I would say to take away is definitely get your 4th base and your 5th base faster and get your tech up faster. Maybe don't worry about getting your bases here to distract him, forcing army movement, whatever. I get that can be a little bit overwhelming. So at the very least, get this 4th base faster, maybe even 5th base, but definitely get your tech up faster. This is gonna be your main objective. So don't worry about these bases or whatnot. Don't worry about forcing him to make all that movement and whatnot. Just focus on getting your Arbiter tech, get stasis, give yourself a fighting chance to fight his army. So right now, your Arbiter tech still isn't out. This is still really difficult to fight. This is like impossible to fight against. Believe me, I've tried to. It doesn't work. Tanks are just too strong, especially with 2-2. You have 1-1, which is nice, but yeah, 2-2 is just so strong. Upgrade Terran is just so strong. Okay. Okay, I do like that the Obs is monitoring. Okay, this is a huge mistake by him. If you see all his tanks unsiege, go. Fight. Go. Normally, Terrans, what they do is they'll unsiege half their tanks, move them up, and if you engage, then the siege tanks in the back that are sieged, they'll hit you and prevent you from committing too hard. But when all the tanks are unsieged, he's weak. This is when he's weak. So if you see this, you need to move everything and attack. Go. The things I said about the Arbiters in the Storm, that's in the context of sieged tanks. So that's when you want to stasis them. If you can get storms off of them, great. But yeah, unsieged tanks versus Dragoon Zealots, yeah, sign me up. Fight this head on. ASAP. But you gave him too much time, so he has time to siege up again. Okay, so just buying time. You want Arbiters out, but like I said, these are way too late because of our build. But the idea is still right. Like, we don't want to attack. We want to attack when we have tech up, but you shot yourself in the foot with the Arbiter tech too late. Like this. Oh. Yeah, shells are weird like that. They don't drop everything, which is annoying. Okay. So, yeah, that'd be my game plan. Like, I don't want to force the fight. I just want to, yeah, pick off tanks, just buy time for my Arbiters to come out, build some energy. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Oh, trickling units here. That's not good. Oh no. Yeah, this is kind of uncoordinated. This only looks good because like his vultures keep leaving his tanks naked. But generally speaking, if you're gonna commit, you have to commit everything all at once. Otherwise, his units are just gonna melt yours too quickly. As you can see, the supply difference, that's what's happening. So yeah, he killed most of your army. He should have the production to just keep pushing forward and kill you. So you can see you don't have... Okay, you just got your Arbiters out at 19 minutes. And dude, I totally get it. Like, playing this game is hard because you have to keep with your build and your tech and army movement and everything. But the fact that your tech is so late, I think really killed you this game. And the units being trickled here, that's not helpful either. Yeah, I think it's GG from here. It's honestly makes a catastrophic mistake. I don't see you coming out of this. Like, his goal will be taking this base now because he's pushed all the way out here. He has map control of this area, so you can take that. He can take that base, and you're just kind of trapped, unfortunately. Like, you can try to bust out, but he's at 3-3, you're at 2-2. 2-2 is nice, but 3-3 is just monstrous. Like, Oh, this is nice. Getting a lot of value from the shell drops. But eventually, unfortunately, yeah, Terran Mech is insane. Like, Protoss upgrades scale linearly, while Terran upgrades scale exponentially. Call it unfair? Sure, I would agree. But that's just kind of how the game was designed. Yeah, 15. For example, let's say. So, yeah, you got +4 with a +2 upgrade versus +3 upgrades gives you 15 extra damage versus 4 damage. So, thanks, Blizzard. Okay, I'm going to speed it up because all I predict that's going to happen is that he's going to just bleed you out. You're going to run out of units, and he's just going to maybe set up another base either here or here, and just out-trade you. Yep. Yeah, he has vision control here. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's, yeah, it's good, but he just has too much money, you know? Like, you don't have that much money because your production is just, you're forced to make so many units, and he took so many bad trades, unfortunately, because he's so, his upgrades are so good. So because of that, all your money was spent on units, and you're going to run out of money eventually. All he has to do is trade efficiently, save up a lot of money, and in the times that he's not trading well, he has how I say this, he has wiggle room to trade inefficiently and make up for it later. Hence, you see he has a lot of money now. But as you can see, he's going to finish this CC. He's going to get this up. And now, let's look at the verdict. So you've run out of mining here, here. You're about to run out of mining here. Let's just say you have. You're going to be on one mining base. He's on he's on 2 mining bases and has 3 upgrades. So he is in an excellent spot. Okay, so it looks like you're going for recalls, which is nice. Unfortunately, you're doing it at a point where he's at his strongest. So you are doing damage, but you're at a point of weakness where it's kind of a little too late. I like the attempt though. Okay, and I think that's the game. Okay, let's recap. Wow, it's 48 minutes. Holy cow. Okay. Sorry to ramble on a lot. So, in summary, he honestly wasn't that far ahead because his SCV production wasn't good. By his build, though, he should have been really far ahead. In which case, when you do see this, you want to either try to think of either trying to catch up or by harass or... yeah, either harass or all in. Here, though, we mentioned that we want to keep our goons back at this point of this stage in the game, because he can get vultures and mines and mine behind you, and that's no good. We do want to explore further up here. We want to see the factory count. Yeah, normally you wouldn't be able. How did he? Yeah, you can't. You can't generally afford this. You can't afford 5 factories and a CC, but he only does it because he's at 35 CVs. As you can see, like, oh, actually, never mind. It's a bad example. But he gets away with it. And his idea is, okay, I have the bases that I want. Now I just need to keep teching up, get my upgrades. Your idea is, okay, well, I couldn't kill his third. I couldn't delay it. I can try to kill his front, but this is actually kind of hard on this map because of the small bridge. So your idea will at least take your fourth much faster, maybe even your fifth much faster, and try to catch up economically. The alternative from that, which is a kind of a higher level strategic move, is take this base, take this base too, take the two corners. And that way he has to make an awkward decision on where to attack. And wherever he does attack, that leaves him vulnerable. Excuse me. So yeah, if he attacks this one, it'll leave him vulnerable as natural. If he attacks here, then you can still counter, or you can set up a flank like around this area. You can attack from this area and this area if he gets to this area. So yeah, it leaves for like strategic decisions and whatnot, but let's forget about that for now. The idea definitely though is that you need your fourth and fifth faster. He's going to catch up to you. He's going to get way ahead of you, being 3 base versus 3 base. So you want to double expand to stay on one step ahead of him. The other thing is your tech. This is actually probably the most important thing. I want your tech to be much faster. You could totally afford it. It's important that you get your tech as quickly as you possibly can, because once he gets to that unstoppable Terran army, you need a high level tech to counter it, either with storm and or stasis. So tech is a priority, and getting your money out is a priority with your 4th, 5th base is going to be key there. From here, yeah, you just want to wait until your tech is up so that you stand a chance to fighting him. But you kind of suicide because you attack at a timing where he's not going to be weak. We pointed out at the 11-12 minute mark he might be weaker, but you attack at the 15 minute mark when he has 2-2, and you're just going to kind of, your army's going to go splat if you don't have the proper tech. And you can see here, that's even more evident. Like, you have 190 supply, but because upgrades are so good, you are at 1-1 plus 2, and then yeah, plus 2 gives him 10 additional damage. How crazy is that? I like the shell drops. I like the zealot bombs. That's good in general. But then our units kind of just trickle in. They're not uniform. If you're going to attack this, attack all at once. This is kind of, yeah, it's just too half measured. Like, yeah, these are being wasted. And then this, and then this. You want to go 1A, 2A, 3. 1A, 2A, 3 all at once. And these as well. But these need an observer, or they're just going to run into mines. Yeah, so it just needs to be a little bit crisper if you're going to go for it, but you need to wait for a couple stasis on the tanks before you go in like this. And having some Templars to storm on vultures or tanks doesn't hurt either. Yeah, okay, so summary. Biggest things. If you see Terran go fast 3 bases like this, you want to stay 1 step ahead, or 2 steps ahead even, because he's going to go for like a later game, you know, unit heavy kind of strategy. So you want to get your 4th and 5th base up quicker and get your tech up faster. We mentioned that you could have started this and this at 8:30, probably gotten this at 9:30. We're at 10 minutes now, and your arbiters have just come out. So these could have come out a lot faster, made your army a lot more scary. I think that's going to be your primary focus on getting better. So, okay, hope that was helpful. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.